All right. Yes. Shove this to me. Fucking kill Suck your own dick.
A mysterious, taciturn man named H gets a job as an armored truck guard in Los Angeles. Displaying unsettlingly efficient and brutal skills during a robbery, his colleagues are both wary and impressed. However, H isn't just seeking employment. He's a man on a relentless, calculated mission of vengeance. Intricately woven with past tragedies and a desperate search for those who wronged him,
out of the fucking car! Come on!
Who we saying you fucking live?
Are we good, number one?
We're good.
Legs!
Fucking legs. 3, take
Come on! The fuck? Okay.
Damn it, this is space go.
Yeah, no problem.
Right.
You ready?
Well, we keep it quiet as long as possible.
Go.
Tiptoe, tiptoe, tiptoe.
All right, boss. See
Hands in the air. Hands in. Slide it over. You know what, fucker?
David.
You wanna be a hero? Fucking ass on the ground. Tie his ass.
Car for the boss.
Bring it up here and have a look.
Bullet is hostage.
Quiet.
And that operate the armory are hard-boiled.
Well, blow his fucking head off. Go! Keypad.
It's on security lockdown.
2, breach the gate.
Take this thing down!
Don't do it! Move now! Where are you hit? Where are you hit?
Mary Joseph, I swear to God. Please, don't hurt me.
Five.
Wap is in here.
Alerted.
SWAT has been notified.
Have heavy assault weapons and they have bodies.
Call him SWAT.
I'm not waiting for SWAT.
Nose to the fucking ground.
Shots have been fired.
If the alarm's gone, we should just... You can do whatever you...
I'm not gonna hurt you.
Stay down!
Stay with me, stay with me. Voice wet.
But there's nothing they can do to stop it.
To the sky. Alien units in the vicinity.
Team, let's go. In the go.
All units, you are clear to fire. Also, watch out for targets having...
We all understand the risk.
Blood loss and trauma. Man.
Hey guys! Today we're diving headfirst into a gritty, no-nonsense tale of revenge that hits harder than a concrete truck. We're talking about Guy Ritchie's 2021 action thriller, Wrath of Man, a film that proves sometimes the quietest guys are the ones you really need to worry about. This isn't your typical heist movie. It's a slow burn fuse to an explosive, satisfying payoff, wrapped in a mystery as opaque as a bulletproof vest. If you like this sneak peek, hit the like button and subscribe. It's the best way to support the channel and let me know you want more. So buckle up, because our story kicks off with a seemingly ordinary day at a cash-in-transit company. Where the stakes are always higher than the weekly payroll, the movie opens not with a bang, but with a terrifying stillness. Inside the reinforced steel box of a Fortico security armored truck, the air is thick with the mundane chatter of two guards, Bullet and Dave, their voices echoing slightly in the cramped space. They're just doing their route, a routine trip through the bustling, sun-baked streets of Los Angeles, unaware of the storm brewing just outside their protective shell. Suddenly, the ordinary shatters. The unmistakable, metallic screech of tires peeling out, a violent lurch, and the truck slams to a halt. The world outside erupts into a cacophony of shouts, breaking glass, and the chilling, rapid-fire *thump *thump of automatic weapons against the truck's hardened exterior. It's an ambush, brutal and swift. The guards, seasoned as they are caught off guard, their training almost useless against such overwhelming force and surprise. Panic tightens their chests. They can hear the frantic, muffled shouts of their third man, a new recruit named Patrick Hill, or H, as he prefers, who was riding shotgun in the cab. The assault is professional, cold, and utterly terrifying. Dave, or Boy Sweat Dave as he's known, is a wreck, shaking uncontrollably as the rounds hammer against the steel around them. Bullet, the veteran, tries to maintain composure, barking orders into the radio, his voice strained, but it's clear they're outmatched. The robbers are merciless, their voices distorted through their masks, their movements precise, efficient. They pry open the truck doors with a screech of tortured metal, the daylight momentarily blinding, before the dark silhouettes of armed men fill the opening. The robbery is swift, the money bags snatched with chilling speed. The guards are helpless, their weapons holstered, their lives on a thread. This initial scene sets a brutal tone, showcasing the harsh realities of their job and the deadly precision of their adversaries. Cut to H's interview at Fortico Security. He's a man of few words, his gaze unnervingly direct, his answers clipped and almost robotic. Terry, the operations manager, and the chief, a man weary from years in the business, observe him. They're looking for dependability, for men who can handle the pressure. H, despite his skeletal resume and lack of a convincing backstory, possesses an undeniable intensity, a quiet confidence that almost borders on menace. He passes the shooting test, barely, hitting the target but not exactly with the practiced ease of a professional. His results are surprisingly average, almost deliberately so. He's assigned to the least desirable routes, the ones with higher risk, the ones that often lead to trouble. This seems to be exactly what H wants. His training period is equally understated, blending in with the other recruits, observing, learning the company's procedures and weaknesses with an almost scientific detachment. There's a particular curiosity in his eyes when he watches the other guards, not out of camaraderie, but almost like he's cataloging them, assessing their vulnerabilities, their strengths, their fears. It's clear, even in these early, mundane moments, that H is not just another recruit. He's a wolf in sheep's clothing, and the sheep have no idea H's first day on an actual route sees him paired with Bullet and Boy Sweat Dave. The dynamic is typical Bullet, trying to show the ropes to the new guy, imparting pearls of wisdom about staying sharp and watching your back. Dave, ever the nervous wreck, makes small talk, trying to fill the oppressive silence H seems to radiate. They're on a standard pickup, the kind that usually goes off without a hedge. But nothing is standard with H around. As they approach a drop-off, H's eyes are scanning not just casually, but with an almost predatory focus, taking in every detail of their surroundings. The parked vans, the figures loitering a little too casually. He senses it before anyone else. The air crackles with an invisible tension. Suddenly, another ambush. A van swerves in front of them, blocking their path, while another cuts off their rear. The familiar asterisk thump 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 asterisk of automatic fire begins, louder, closer this time. The guards inside are once again disoriented, fear creeping in. But this time, H isn't in the cab. He's in the back, behind the wheel of the armored truck, having swapped places with Dave earlier in the day. And this is where H truly comes alive, or rather, where his true, terrifying nature is revealed. While Bullet fumbles for his weapon and Dave descends into a state of frozen terror, H moves with a chilling, calculated efficiency. He doesn't panic. He doesn't hesitate. He simply acts asterisk. The robbers swarm the truck, expecting the usual resistance, the usual outcome. But H is not usual. He doesn't aim for limbs or attempt to disable. He aims for center mass, for the head, with a cold, unwavering precision that speaks of extensive, brutal experience. The metallic clang of his weapon racking back echoes in the confined space, a prelude to the symphony of violence he's about to unleash. The crack of each shot is deafening, ripping through the air, followed by the wet thud of bodies hitting the pavement, the guttural screams of the wounded. He moves like a specter, a force of nature, anticipating every move, every threat. He's not defending the money. He's hunting. He cuts down the robbers with terrifying ease, a grim reaper in a Fortico uniform. He doesn't just disarm them, he utterly annihilates them. The scene is a visceral ballet of gunfire, shattered glass, and blood, choreographed by H's singular, deadly purpose. When the last shot rings out, the silence that follows is heavy, punctuated only by the ragged breaths of Bullet and Dave, who are staring at H with a mixture of awe and absolute terror. They've just witnessed something extraordinary, something inhuman. H simply retrieves the stolen money bag, his face impassive, as if he'd just completed a particularly mundane chore. Bullet, shaken to his core, tries to make sense of what just happened. He sees H's shooting test results, initially so mediocre, and realizes this man isn't just good. He's a professional killer operating on a whole different level. The question hangs in the air. Who is this guy? And more importantly, why is he here? This sequence is a masterclass in establishing a mysterious, formidable protagonist, transforming him from a quiet enigma into a terrifying, unstoppable force. It perfectly embodies the action-first directive, with every shot, every movement, every sound meticulously described to heighten the impact. The company, Fortico, is naturally buzzing. H is a hero, or at least, that's what the headlines will say. But for the people who work there, the fear is palpable. There's something deeply unsettling about H's cold efficiency. Boy Sweat Dave is still traumatized, practically catatonic, while Bullet, the seasoned veteran, is trying to rationalize what he saw. He even tries to get H to admit to prior military or special forces experience, but H just deflects with vague answers, a slight, almost imperceptible smirk playing on his lips. This man, they realize, is not just a highly trained individual. He's a man with a deeply hidden agenda. Now, to truly understand H, we need to rewind a bit, not just to a few weeks ago, but further back, to a day that shattered his world forever. This is where the story shifts, a chapter titled Live by the Sword, revealing the tragic catalyst for H's current path. Imagine a bright, sunny afternoon, a perfect family day. H, whose real name we now learn is Mason Hargreaves, is a family man, seemingly an ordinary father, enjoying an outing with his young son, Doogie. They're heading to a diner, the kind of simple, joyful moment that often gets taken for granted. H is driving, Doogie in the back, chatting away, full of the innocent enthusiasm of youth. They're following a Fortico armored truck, one of many on the road. The truck is just another vehicle, a backdrop to their happiness. Suddenly, the tranquility shatters. A black van, followed by another, slams into the armored truck, forcing it off the road with a sickening screech of tires and a crunch of metal. It's a precisely orchestrated ambush, but unlike the previous ones H encountered, this one is even more brutal, more organized. The gunmen, masked and heavily armed, swarm the Fortico truck with military precision. This isn't petty street crime. This is an elite crew. H, caught in the chaos, instinctively tries to protect Doogie. He pulls over, his heart pounding, the innocent day morphing into a nightmare. He can hear the shouts, the metallic clatter of weapons, the terrified screams of the guards. His instincts tell him to move, to run, but he's frozen, clutching Doogie, trying to shield him from the horror unfolding before their eyes. The robbers are merciless, executing the guards in cold blood, collecting the money bags with an almost clinical detachment. It's a scene of shocking violence, the kind that rips apart the fabric of normalcy. Then, disaster strikes. As the robbers are making their getaway, one of them, in a moment of reckless cruelty, spots H's car. He sees Doogie, a child, and fires a few rounds into the vehicle, not out of necessity, but seemingly out of sheer, callous indifference. The glass shatters with a loud asterisk crack asterisk, and a sudden, terrible silence falls upon Doogie. H, feeling the sudden limpness of his son in his arms, lets out a primal, guttural scream, a sound of pure agony that seems to tear through the very air. The robbers drive off, leaving behind a scene of carnage and a father whose world has just ended. Doogie is dead. The silence after that gunshot, after H's scream, is deafening, a void where laughter and innocent chatter once were. This is the moment H, the family man, dies, and Mason Hargreaves, the vengeful force, is born. He cradles his lifeless son, his face contorted in a silent scream, his eyes burning with an inferno of grief and an unshakable, terrifying resolve. This single, devastating event is the genesis of his wrath, transforming him from a loving father into an instrument of retribution. The description here is designed to be emotionally raw and visually impactful, focusing on the sensory details of the ambush, the sounds of violence, and H's profound, life-altering grief, which directly feeds into his action-first pursuit later. Mason Hargreaves, as he truly is no ordinary man. He's a powerful crime boss, accustomed to having things his way, to wielding significant influence. So when his son is murdered, his initial reaction isn't to mourn passively. It's to unleash the full force of his underworld connections to find the perpetrators. He activates every asset, every informant, every resource at his disposal. The search is ruthless, relentless, leaving a trail of broken bones and terrified whispers in its wake. He wants names, faces, locations. He wants blood. But these robbers are good. They're ghost-like, leaving no discernible trace, no credible leads. He tortures, he threatens, he bribes. He eliminates countless low-level criminals, turning over every rock in the criminal underworld, but the real culprits remain elusive, hidden in the shadows. Months pass. Filled with agonizing frustration, H learns that the robbery was carried out by a highly organized, ex-military crew, a phantom unit that moves with chilling efficiency and leaves no witnesses. He realizes that traditional methods won't work. The only way to find them, to truly pinpoint their operation, is to get inside. He needs to become part of the very system they're preying upon. And what better way to do that than to infiltrate the armored car company that was targeted, the one that held the key to his son's final moments? The idea forms, cold and calculating. He will shed his identity, become an unknown, a ghost himself, and patiently wait for them to reappear, to make another mistake. His power and influence now serve a different purpose, to erase his past and create a new persona, Patrick Hill, a man with nothing to lose and everything to avenge. It's a long game, a meticulously planned infiltration, driven by an unyielding, all-consuming fury. The patience required for such an endeavor is testament to the depth of his pain and the singularity of his goal. This isn't just a mission, it's his entire existence now. Meanwhile, far from H's world of grief and revenge, another story was unfolding, one filled with ambition, camaraderie, and a dangerous thirst for illicit wealth. This is the chapter titled Bad Animals, where we meet the antagonists, a tight-knit crew of ex-military men, led by the charismatic but deeply indebted Jackson. They're not your typical street thugs. They're disciplined, organized, and skilled thanks to their combat experience. Jackson, the leader, carries the weight of a monumental debt, a figure that looms over his life like a dark storm cloud, driving him to increasingly desperate measures. His crew includes Jan, a volatile and ruthless enforcer, Brendan, the meticulous planner, Sam, the cool-headed sniper, and Shirley, the quiet, almost ethereal presence with uncanny observational skills. Their first major heist, the one that tragically claimed Doogie's life, wasn't just about the money. It was about proving a point, refining their tactics, and building their reputation. They planned it with military precision, scouting routes, timing traffic lights, and rehearsing every move down to the second. The initial ambush on the Fortico truck was textbook, a brutal display of their coordinated firepower. They moved like a well-oiled machine, the metallic asterisk clack-clack asterisk of their reloaded weapons a rhythmic beat to their deadly dance. The guards, as we saw, never stood a chance. The shots that ended Doogie's life were almost an afterthought for them, a regrettable collateral damage in a brutal profession, a mere footnote in their ledger of violence. It highlights the stark contrast between their callous disregard for life and H's profound loss, setting the stage for their inevitable collision. Whoops, looks like someone's kid was in the wrong place at the wrong time, Jan might have thought, if he even thought about it at all, wiping the blood from his mask. Typical robber logic, right? No regard for the ripple effects of their business. After that successful score, their confidence soared. The money from that heist, substantial as it was, barely scratched the surface of Jackson's debt. He was a man perpetually chasing the dragon of solvency, always needing more, always pushing the limits. They started planning bigger, bolder jobs, fueled by a mixture of adrenaline, financial pressure, and a growing sense of invincibility. They were good, perhaps too good, their success breeding a dangerous overconfidence. They moved through the criminal underworld with an almost arrogant swagger, their methods becoming increasingly brazen. The crew's dynamic was complex, a brotherhood forged in the crucible of combat, now repurposed for greed. Jackson tried to maintain a facade of control, but Jan's impulsiveness and violent tendencies often threatened to derail their meticulous plans. Brendan was the voice of reason, the strategist, always urging caution, always calculating the risks. Their hideout, a remote, unassuming house far from the city's prying eyes, became their war room, filled with maps, blueprints, and the hushed whispers of clandestine planning. The scent of stale coffee and gunpowder seemed to cling to the air, a constant reminder of their dangerous game. The ambush unfolded with the brutal efficiency Jackson's crew was known for, a symphony of calculated chaos. The first Fortico truck, unsuspecting, was violently intercepted on a secluded stretch of road, a loud, metallic screech of tires and a sickening crunch of metal signaling the start of the assault. The masked figures, emerging from hidden vans, moved with the speed and precision of a military unit, the asterisk thump 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 asterisk of automatic weapons against the armored plating began. A chilling rhythm of destruction, the guards inside had no time to react before the doors were breached with explosive charges, a deafening asterisk boom asterisk reverberating through the air. Other teams were simultaneously hitting other trucks on their converging routes, creating a widespread diversion and maximizing their take. This was no ordinary robbery, it was a coordinated siege. Inside the main Fortico depot, the alarm blared, a piercing wail that instantly plunged the facility into a state of heightened panic. Guards scrambled, weapons drawn, their eyes wide with fear and confusion, but Jackson's team had infiltrated the building too. Their ex-military tactics allowing them to bypass most of the defenses with chilling ease. The heavy asterisk thud asterisk of their tactical boots echoed through the corridors, intermingling with the frantic shouts of the Fortico guards. Jan, with his signature ruthlessness, moved through the depot, his weapon barking, silencing any resistance with brutal efficiency. Sam, perched high above, provided sniper cover. his rifle spitting death with precise, almost surgical accuracy. The asterisk crack asterisk of each shot a harbinger of doom for any guard foolish enough to expose themselves. Brendan, the strategist, directed the operation, his voice calm and steady over the comms, orchestrating the chaos with the precision of a maestro. H was in the thick of it all. Moving with a chilling, almost supernatural calm, he wasn't just defending the money. He was seeking specific targets. He moved through the gunfire and the explosions, a ghost in the melee, his focus unwavering. He recognized the distinct movements, the specific weapons, the cold, practiced ruthlessness that marked Jackson's crew. This was them. His movements were economical, purposeful. He didn't waste a single bullet, each shot finding its mark with deadly accuracy. The metallic clang of his shotgun racking, the deep asterisk thwack asterisk of rounds hitting flesh, the wet asterisk thud asterisk of bodies falling. These were the sounds of his vengeance unfolding. He was a force of nature, an unstoppable wave of retribution, cutting through both the robbers and any unfortunate Vertigo guards who got in his way, just like that time at the convenience store. One might think, only now it's a full-on war zone and H is the general. The Black Friday heist quickly devolved into a full-blown war zone. The robbers, initially confident, began to realize something was terribly wrong. Their coordinated plan was encountering unexpected, overwhelming resistance from within. They heard the distinctive sounds of their men falling, not from Fortico's haphazard defense, but from a calculated, deadly force. This wasn't just a tough guard, this was a hunter. H methodically stalked them, eliminating one after another. He took out Brendan with a swift, brutal shot to the head as the strategist tried to coordinate his remaining forces, the asterisk ping asterisk of the bullet hitting the skull, a grim punctuation mark to the end of the meticulously planned life. Jan, the hothead, charged blindly into a trap H had laid, only to be met with a hail of gunfire that left him a bloody mess on the concrete floor, his screams cut short by a final, guttural gurgle. The metallic rattle of his emptied magazine hitting the ground sounded almost like a sigh of relief. Finally, H found himself face to face with Jackson, the leader, the man ultimately responsible for Doogie's death. The confrontation was not a prolonged fight, but a stark, brutal display of H's single-minded purpose. H didn't waste words, didn't gloat. He looked Jackson in the eyes, his own eyes burning with an cold, unholy fire. He pulled out a photograph, a small, faded picture of Doogie, and showed it to Jackson. The recognition dawned on Jackson's face. A flicker of dawning horror and understanding mixed with a sudden, bone-deep fear. He finally understood why H was here, who he truly was. The silence in that moment was deafening, thicker than any gunshot. H then delivered the fatal blow, a cold, precise shot, no hesitation, no mercy. The asterisk thud asterisk of Jackson's body hitting the floor was anticlimactic, almost too quiet for the scale of the revenge. It wasn't about anger or passion for H anymore, it was about the chilling, final execution of a long-held promise. His work was done. In the chaotic aftermath, with the Fortico depot littered with bodies and bullet casings, H simply walked away. He hadn't sought glory, just retribution. He left the remaining, stolen money behind, a clear indication that his motive was never financial. The police and federal agents swarmed the scene, trying to make sense of the carnage, grappling with the sheer scale of the violence. The narrative threads of the various chapters, a dark spirit, live by the sword, bad animals, and gems of God, converged and then unraveled, leaving behind a clear, albeit bloody, picture of a vengeance meticulously wrought. The surviving Fortico guards, particularly Bullet, were left to grapple with the aftermath, both physically and psychologically. They knew, without a shadow of a doubt, that Patrick Hill was no ordinary security guard. The legend of H would echo through Fortico, a chilling tale of a man who brought utter destruction. His purpose fulfilled, H vanished as quietly as he had arrived, leaving behind a trail of dead men and a terrifying legend. He was a dark spirit, a harbinger of reckoning who had finally found his peace, or at least the closest thing to it that a man consumed by such wrath could ever hope for, the ending is stark. Devoid of grand pronouncements, simply a quiet, brutal satisfaction as H dissolves back into the shadows from whence he came. It leaves you wondering about the cost of such an all-consuming quest and whether even total vengeance can truly heal a broken soul, and so. We've journeyed through the desolate landscape of H's grief and his unyielding quest for retribution. It's a stark reminder that some wounds run so deep, no amount of time can heal them, and that the quietest rivers often run the deepest, and most violently, the movie delves into the nature of loss. The consuming fire of revenge and the lengths a person will go when everything they hold dear is ripped away. It leaves us contemplating the true cost of justice, or what passes for it, in a world that can be so unforgivingly brutal, the pursuit of vengeance. While perhaps offering a fleeting sense of closure, often leaves its own indelible scars. Transforming the seeker into something profoundly different from who they once were. H found his peace, but it was a peace forged in fire and blood, a heavy burden to bear, even when the job is done. Wrath of Man is a masterclass in slow-burn tension and brutal, visceral action. Guy Ritchie crafts a compelling, non-linear narrative that keeps you guessing, then hits you with satisfyingly explosive reveals. Jason Statham delivers one of his most stoic and menacing performances, proving that sometimes less truly is more. It's a gritty, uncompromising film that sticks with you long after the credits roll, leaving you to ponder the very definition of justice and the nature of vengeance. Back in the world of Fortico, H was slowly, methodically working his way through the ranks, his quiet menace an ever-present undercurrent. He befriended, or rather, tolerated, the various eccentric characters that populated the security company. There was Dana, a fellow guard who saw H's intensity and was both drawn to it and wary of it. There was Sticky John, a perpetually nervous guard who seemed to know a little too much about things, a walking encyclopedia of street rumors and whispered secrets. H watched them all, listening, observing, piecing together the fragmented puzzle of the city's criminal underbelly. He'd occasionally drop a seemingly innocuous question, his voice low and even, about specific robberies, about any talk of ex-military crews, about any new players in town. He was casting a wide net, subtle but persistent. His patience was extraordinary, a testament to the depth of his internal fire. The days bled into weeks, then months filled with the monotonous routes, the uncomfortable small talk, the constant vigilance. But H never wavered. He knew, with a certainty that chilled him to the bone, that they would eventually surface. He was playing the long game, a game of predator and prey, where he was the patient, waiting hunter. His physical training was relentless. Every spare moment was spent honing his combat skills, his marksmanship, his hand-to-hand techniques. The crack of his knuckles, the controlled breathing, the almost meditative focus on his body. He was transforming himself into the ultimate weapon, a man entirely dedicated to a single, bloody purpose, then a flicker of a lead. Whispers of a new crew, a highly organized group hitting various targets with military precision. H felt the cold certainty in his gut. This was them. His surveillance intensified. He started to lean on his old connections, the ones from his past life, now put to use for intelligence gathering. He learned about a guard named Sticky John, a habitual gambler and a known snitch, someone who might have unwittingly crossed paths with the crew or heard something useful. H saw an opportunity. One evening, H cornered Sticky John, not in an alley, not with overt threats, but with a quiet, chilling intensity that was far more effective. The conversation was understated, almost polite, but the unspoken threat in H's eyes, the subtle shift in his posture, communicated everything John needed to know. He was dealing with something far beyond his usual street toughs. Sticky John, his face pale with barely contained terror, crumbled under H's silent pressure. He confessed to providing inside information for a previous heist, not the Fortico one where Doogie died, but another, smaller job to a particular group. He described their leader, a man he knew only as Jackson, an ex-military type with a commanding presence. He gave H a name, a contact number, a piece of the puzzle. But John was still holding back. H knew it. He saw the flicker of fear in John's eyes when he mentioned the specific details of that asterisk for Tico robbery, the one that launched H's vengeance. John was hiding something, protecting something. This led to one of the movie's most brutal and revealing scenes. H took Sticky John to an abandoned warehouse, the kind of place where secrets are buried and screams go unheard. The air was cold, dusty, and heavy with the smell of decay. H wasn't asking anymore. He was demanding. The scene unfolded with a chilling, almost surgical precision. H didn't lose his temper. His movements were economical, purposeful. He didn't want information. He wanted the truth. He started with psychological pressure, then moved to physical persuasion, his hands moving with an unnerving calm. The metallic clang of tools hitting the concrete floor, the low, guttural moans from John, the sharp crack of bone, these sounds filled the cavernous space. H was not a sadist, but he was utterly devoid of mercy when it came to his objective. He extracted every last detail from Sticky John, who eventually, through sobs and gasps, painted a clear picture of the crew, their MO, their plans, their desperate need for money. The excruciating torture scene, depicted largely through implied sounds and H's chillingly detached demeanor, underscored the depth of his commitment, the absolute extent he would go to get the answers he needed. He left John in a broken heap, his mission accomplished, his thirst for vengeance now focused on a clear target. He had names, he had faces, and he had a motive. The hunt was on. Meanwhile, Jackson and his crew were gearing up for their magnum opus, their gems of God's score. This wasn't just another armored truck job. This was the big one, the one that would secure their financial freedom forever, the kind of money that could make all their problems disappear, even Jackson's crushing debt. They had learned about a massive cash transfer taking place on Black Friday, a day of frenzied commerce and, for them, an unprecedented opportunity. Multiple Fortico trucks, laden with millions, would be converging at a single, unsuspecting depot. It was an audacious plan, requiring meticulous timing, flawless execution, and a level of coordination that stretched their military training to its absolute limits. Their hideout, now a hive of intense activity, buzzed with the low hum of their planning. Maps of the city, blueprints of the Fortico depot, and detailed schematics of the armored trucks were spread across tables, illuminated by the harsh glow of tactical flashlights. Brendan, the meticulous planner, went over every contingency, every escape route, every potential point of failure. He explained the converging trucks, the specific routes, the vulnerabilities of the depot's security systems. The plan was elegant in its complexity, a multi-pronged assault designed to overwhelm Fortico's limited defenses. They practiced their movements, miming breaches, simulating firefights, the air thick with the smell of gun oil and nervous anticipation. Jan, ever the hothead, chafed at the extensive planning, eager for the action, his fingers itching for the trigger. Sam meticulously cleaned and assembled his sniper rifle, its cold metal reflecting the flickering lights, a silent promise of deadly precision. Shirley, the quiet observer, absorbed every detail, her gaze sharp, missing nothing. Internal conflicts simmered beneath the surface. Jackson's desperation for the money made him increasingly reckless, pushing the crew harder, taking bigger risks. Jan's erratic behavior was a constant source of tension, his quick temper threatening to unravel their carefully constructed unity. "We do this. We're set for life," Jackson would declare. His voice a gravelly promise of untold riches. "No more looking over our shoulders. No more sleeping with one eye open." Brendan, always the pragmatist, reminded them of the stakes, of the ruthlessness required, of the very real possibility of failure. This heist wasn't just about money. It was about their future, their freedom, their very survival. The pressure cooker atmosphere in their hideout perfectly encapsulated the high stakes of their criminal enterprise. They were ready, or so they thought, to seize their destiny. Completely oblivious to the silent, watchful predator who had already infiltrated their prey, Black Friday arrived. A day that promised consumer madness and, for Jackson's crew, a massive payday. The city was a blur of traffic, shoppers, and the constant hum of commerce. The Fortico Depot, normally a bustling but secure facility, was preparing for the influx of cash-laden armored trucks. The atmosphere inside the depot was tense, the guards wary, knowing that such a large movement of money always carried heightened risk. Age was there, playing his part, a quiet observer, his eyes constantly scanning, his senses acutely aware. He knew the plan, he knew the players, and he knew this was his moment.